growing with it. And with that in mind, I'm eager to introduce our keynote speaker. He's going to speak firsthand from his own experience about the importance of doing exactly what we're doing here in Warren County, and that's formulating a place-based strategy, leaning into it, putting every shoulder behind it, and making it all a place that it can be, the best place that it can be. Greg Tehven is an expert in placemaking. He's the CEO and co-founder of Emerging Prairie, an organization that's creating a thriving ecosystem for entrepreneurs, innovators, and technologists in Fargo, North Dakota. Greg has been a leader of the award-winning revitalization of Fargo's approach to economic and community development over the past decade. How did he and his colleagues do this? They looked at Fargo's existing assets and resources. They built up upon their community's existing strengths. They forged an identity and a path forward for Fargo by first and foremost believing in Fargo and loving it, loving the place that they call home. Greg is a fifth-generation North Dakotan. He holds a degree from the University of Minnesota, and he's completed Stanford's Graduate School of Business Social Entrepreneurship Executive course. He's happily married to an entrepreneur, and he's a father of 3. And I'd like to, at this time, play a short video showing a little bit about what Greg is all about.
I think the secret sauce of Fargo is the spirit of creativity, of wonder.
It's a town where you can make something happen. If you're creative, a maker, an entrepreneur, you're one conversation away from someone who might be able to help an idea come to reality.
The secret sauce of Fargo is the creativity and ingenuity of the people who are here and who are coming here and making cool things happen that they want to see and how they support and try to grow the city that they want to live in.
People in Fargo are hardworking, they're focused on the community, and you will see a level of community good above personal interest everywhere you go in Fargo.
What I love about people in this region is they don't answer the question who, they answer the question me. I can solve the problem. My school needs this, well we should do that, or we want to do this, well I can contribute to that.
People sometimes associate ruralness with lack of progress, which just isn't the case. We have some of the premier healthcare systems for serving rural communities. We have some of the premier educational systems serving rural communities. Microsoft's second largest campus outside of Redmond, Washington is here.
We have a convergence of 3 things coming together: agriculture, energy, and technology. We are the first to innovate the Bobcat, the skid steer loader, Steiger tractor. All these great companies were born in this area.
We really are very proud to talk about our advanced care in our bone marrow transplant program, which is just under 3 years old, amongst many other peds subspecialties, to really provide that care for our families and our children in our backyard and across our state.
We have 2 major healthcare providers. We have major industry in agriculture. We have major industry in steel and mechanical and industrial. We have a symphony and opera.
Our downtown has gotten like dramatically cooler and more of a place where you just want to hang out. And that is because of our park district and places like Folkways activating like a main square to actually exist, and for people to gather in and to have free events that are family friendly.
Fargo has a tendency to wrap its arms around its community and specifically its youth, and it's something that I'm really grateful for.
Really is about the people. The people are kind, the people are hardworking, and really look out for each other and each other within the community.
I'm not going to wait for someone else to shape the place that I want to live, and so we can make it happen ourselves.
We don't want to be the next Austin, Texas, or the next Silicon Valley. We want to be the first Fargo, a unique, interesting place filled with misfits and creativity, where people can experiment and be accepted, and ultimately increase the sense of belonging for each and every person.
Ooh. Ladies and gentlemen, Greg Tehven.
Well, good morning, everybody. Am I on? Am I on? Test, test. Are we on? Are we good? Can you hear me in the back? Fantastic. Well, thank you, everybody, for being here. I'm a bit rusty. I haven't done this for a while, and last night I got a little distracted because I flew in and I stayed here, and You have a lot of arcades here. And it turns out when you get to go to an arcade as a parent and you don't have kids to compete with, you get to actually win and spend far less money. What an absolute honor it is. I'm going to have an opportunity to share a little bit about my past, a little bit about what we're working on, and some thoughts for all of you. But first of all, where I'm from, just like geographic question, everybody acknowledge North Dakota is one of the 50 states. Okay, so we too have 2 U.S. senators just like you, but we only have 4% of the population of New York. So we're not all that similar as a state. Second thing, anybody been to North Dakota? Okay, awesome. Thank you for visiting. We lead the country when people are going to all 50 states. Like, we lead the country. Most people that get to the 50th state is North Dakota. And so it's an absolute honor to be an award winner here with all of you. We welcome all of you. And then I do want to make a disclaimer. Anybody ever heard of Mount Rushmore? Okay, South Dakota, not us. Other thing I want to say, we got a lot in common, I'm learning. You guys got the Last of the Mohicans movie, right? We got Fargo. But we got a TV show, so that was exciting. So I love being from North Dakota. It's interesting, like when you travel, I don't know if this is like you, but people actually speak louder to me because they're like, oh, we're from North Dakota. And then they're like, oh my God, I've never met someone from there. And then they speak louder as if we don't, like we can't hear. And then they ask, oh, do you have the internet? It's like, yeah, we do. And they're like, oh, Wells Fargo, love the bank. I'm like, oh no, that's not us either. But I grew up in the so I'm 41, I'm halfway to 82, and I grew up in the 90s in North Dakota, and they were talking about the brain drain. The best and the brightest from North Dakota were leaving. And I wasn't the best or the brightest, but I left because I didn't want anyone to know. And they went, we had a declining population. So from 1930 to 2000, we were one of the only states with a declining population. And they went to these researchers, these Ivy League folks. Anybody know an Ivy League person? Like we should get their autograph or something. But they went and said, what should we do with North Dakota? Declining population. And it was in the National Geographic. They said, give the prairie back to the buffalo. And I am convinced I am a victim of geographical bullying. How can a place elicit such response? But that's where I'm from, and so I couldn't wait to leave. I went to the University of Minnesota. I did a dorm room startup, and then I burned out, and I wandered around the world on a quarter-life crisis. Anybody get one of those? Yeah, it turns out the midlife that I just went through is way worse, but Zoloft is amazing, and that's an anxiety joke, but I got some in the car if you need some. But I got back, and I got a full ride to go to graduate school anywhere I wanted in the world, so through the Rotary Foundation. Any Rotarians here? Thank you for your service. 4-way test, not easy, but I have passed it once. But I got back, and I had to wait for a year, and I ended up working for this guy, Doug Burgum, and he had built a company called Great Plains Software. Anybody ever use Great Plains Software? All right, good. That tells me you've been around for a while. Had a few birthdays, and he was reimagining downtown Fargo, so I was going to work for him. And I started to realize I wanted to create the community I want to be part of. So 11 years ago, I stood on a stage like this in Guernsey. It's one of the islands off the coast of France. And I made this big commitment on how you could create the community you wanted to be part of. So I want to give you a little update how that's going. So the test I thought is if I wanted to create the community I want to be part of, there was 4 things I needed to focus on. Create world-class experiences. How do we be the first Fargo? We didn't want to be the next Austin, Texas, or the next Boulder, Colorado. We wanted to be the first Fargo. The second was infuse the arts. Infuse the arts in everything we do. The third was connect people, share friends, get people off to a great start. And the last one was be radically inclusive. How could we take Fargo and make it the most inclusive place we could be? And the results after the last 11 years have been absolutely transformational. North Dakota is now one of the youngest states in the country. Our average age is about 35.7 years old. Why? 2 key factors: world-class public education and world-class healthcare. The 2 things that bring people to our state are great colleges and universities and great healthcare. You all have that same opportunity. What are you doing to encourage your teachers, to thank your nurses? How do we be great customers? Now, as a parent, I think, God, parent-teacher conference, another reflection of my self-improvement opportunities. But we have an opportunity to do that. This is from an event where we had an e-commerce conference in the middle of a mall. The mall was dying. Turns out you don't even have to rent it. You just use their storefronts. There's no distractions with people. But we've built an e-commerce community. Then we started to have events where we just thank people. We have a fundraiser once a year called 1 Million Thanks. We give out awards and we celebrate people in our community. We tell our CFO it's a fundraiser because we lose like $100,000. We forget to ask people for money. But we celebrate our entrepreneurs, and we make it interesting and exciting. We have a TEDx event. It's one of the largest in the country. We've had hundreds of speakers, millions of views. We got 2,000 people there. And we don't just get people from the state. We get the Lamoureux sisters who won gold medals, or the president of Microsoft, all these folks, the power of an invitation to gather. And then folks like this for the last 11 years have been making, that's one of the guys in the middle, he was on that video. His name's Joe Burgum. He runs the largest farmers market in our community. Over 100,000 people show up every summer to this farmers market. But what I find interesting is the start of all these projects. It's like everybody in my community appointed themselves a devil's advocate. It's like, we're good on those. It's like, I have to take it upon myself to tell the young people why it won't work. And I realized, like, imagine if somebody would have told that author, J.K. Rowling, like, I don't think you should write that first book. Think about how many times she was denied until she gave us Harry Potter. But yet we all hear ideas. And I want to challenge you, when somebody comes up to you with an idea, look for the reasons why it can work. Believe me, there's bankers out there that'll tell us why it's not bankable. But we all have an opportunity to support great ideas. The other thing that's happened in North Dakota is we've become a very wealthy state. We now have the 49th largest sovereign wealth fund in the country. It's called the Legacy Fund. It's a $12.5 billion fund that the state taxes itself on oil and gas revenue to reinvest and reimagine our community. And North Dakota is an incredible place, and the results speak for themselves. And then one of those entrepreneurs, and I love entrepreneurs. How many of you know an entrepreneur? And okay, good. You need a self-help group to like support people that live with them. I do. But entrepreneurs are incredible because they dream of the possibility. You know, when I think about our artists, when I've learned about your community, I'm just blown away. I got to go by the shirt factory last night. Has anybody ever been to that place? I'm just going to go out on a limb and guess that guy or gal's guidance school counselor didn't say one day you're going to build this collaborative with 100 artists and 4 stages and murals and containers. And I went by there going, oh my God, I want to live in a place like that. The power of imagination. I always believe entrepreneurs drive our economy, but our artists drive our creativity, and they give us a hint into the future of the world. And our artists know where things are. And I want to challenge each and one of you to be an advocate for the arts. And I'm not asking a musician to play at one of your events for exposure. I'm asking you to pay them, to vote with your checkbook, vote with your feet, show up, encourage them. I was with Susan last night where I heard stories of her launching artists and supporting them. And we all have an opportunity to do that. I think communities like this can win with the arts. I don't get art. I got my first B in my life in an art class. I still don't get it. But I know it's important. And I know when a community has great public art, it's a signal of openness and inclusion. So I'd encourage